You are listening to the Nature's Premier Podcast, Episode 14. Here on the Nature's Premier Podcast, we talk about everything from bees to babies and sustainable living. Join us while we talk about natural parenting and different ways to live a more sustainable lifestyle for ourselves and our future generations to come. Now let's begin. Welcome back to the Nature's Premier Podcast. I am your host, Brooke Nichols, founder of Nature's Premier Diaper Service here in Long Island, New York, and I am so excited and very grateful to be here with you all today. So school is right around the corner. In some parts of the country, school is starting next week, so everyone is in high gear to start the school year out strong and right. You have people going out and getting school supplies, book bags, backpacks, clothes shopping. I mean, we are in full gear to start the fall in a strong, positive direction. So one thing that, I personally am doing with my family is doing a lot of meal prep. So my daughters follow a plant-based diet and lifestyle, so it's always really important for me to make sure that they're getting wholesome meals, full of nutrition, and fun to eat. So they actually, eat the meals. That's one thing that I always try to do is make them fun, make little smiley faces out of like little apple cores and things like that. Super cheesy, but it works, and they usually like to eat, the creations that I make for their lunchbox. But I thought it would be a fantastic idea to have one of the foremost authorities in plant-based kid nutrition come on the show and chat with us real quick about ways we can implement more plant-based foods into our children's lunchboxes or even lifestyle. Now, I know for me, I became a vegetarian when I was about 4 years old. So there's like a whole story in that, but I just refused to eat meat. And my parents really had no idea, what was wrong with me. They had no idea what to feed me. I personally don't eat pasta because I've probably eaten 500 pounds of it when I was a kid. My mom was a, very strict Italian mother, and she didn't know anything but, really feeding someone pasta, bread, some veggies, but that was it. So, today in 2017, we have a lot of different outlets. We have, Peta2.com. We have Vegan Pregnancy and Parenting. So if your child is showing an interest in eating more animal-free foods and eating more of a plant-based diet, do tune into this interview. It was really informative and definitely very helpful. And, check out previous podcasts where we have, discussions about Meatless Mondays and chat with Janet Carney of Vegan Pregnancy and Parenting. So today we had Kate Tuggle on from Peta2.com. She is the Associate Director of Marketing at PETA, which means she manages PETA.org and PetaKids.com. She is originally from Birmingham, Alabama, and currently lives in Los Angeles in the Hollywood Hills. In her spare time, she is a yoga instructor. She is married to a screenwriter. She loves reading, traveling, and sending handwritten letters and postcards. We are super, super excited to have her on the show. Thanks so much, Kate. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, no, we're really excited to have you on. So I guess just to begin, can you just tell me a little bit about PETA2 and the work that you guys do?
So Peta Kids, I specifically work on Peta Kids, which is our division from kids from 2 or 3 until 10 years old. And we encourage kids to really understand who animals are. We do a lot of how would you feel if type content to encourage kids to relate to animals and feel empathy. Unfortunately, many children see animals at the zoo and they don't understand that animals don't want to be in cages. So we like to encourage them to think differently about what they may have seen in the past. We educate them to make kind choices when they're traveling and on vacation because animal attractions for kids are such a huge thing. We educate them on how their pets should be treated, and how to think differently about getting a pet. It's not just something that you purchase in a store. It's an animal who feels joy and pain and love just like we do. And then, of course, there is the healthy living aspect of it. We inspire kids to make healthy and kind choices throughout the year with what's on their plates. We teach them how delicious and nutritious vegan food can be, and teach them how animals aren't food, but they're living beings with lives and families of their own, just like we are.
Yes. And now are there groups or are there like informative websites? Like how do you go about educating youth on these topics?
So PetaKids.com is where we have all of our content. So that is the first place that I would point people. We have pretty much something for everyone. We have categories you can see at the top: animal facts, saving animals. We've got quizzes and activities. Kids can print out coloring sheets, comics, and learn how to make their own recipes, that type of thing. So, really any place where kids can learn that animals are our friends is a great place to start.
Oh, no, that's great. Now, for those listening that have children that are a little older, about reading age, do you have any like book recommendations that are good for kids to kind of learn more about, the food that goes on their plate and the animals that are impacted by it?
Yeah, we have a reading list on our site. The best book for kids, if you're going to Google it, it's the best books for kids who love animals. There's a book called Toro, A Calf's Tale. It's a story of a bull calf and his escape from a factory farm. They're saving an injured pigeon that a child finds lying on the ground. There is an untold number of books that we love that really bring these messages home to children at a young age.
Oh, that's great. And you said that's a reading list on your site.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's on PetaKids.com, and if you search for the best books for kids who love animals, you can find it.
Best books for kids who love animals. Okay, very cool. Now, for those parents who want to, start to really move towards, not like, let's say like a full plant-based, but start to really incorporate that into their children's diet. We have school right around the corner. Some students are already starting, within the next 2 weeks. Like, what are some recommendations that you guys would recommend for like parents to do with their children to incorporate more veggies and fruits into their diet, and even like some lunchbox ideas for new parents?
Yeah. So lunchbox ideas are probably my favorite because they're quick and easy. They're packable. I really love the ants on a log, but it's basically celery sticks. And then inside the celery sticks, you spread peanut butter. And then on top of the peanut butter, you put raisins. So it looks like ants marching along on the log.
Oh, that's really cute.
And they're very packable and easy. In my experience, kids love hummus, and hummus is one of my go-to snacks for myself and when I'm serving kids. It's just got that great like salty flavor, and it's got plenty of iron, which is important for kids. And then kids love anything that you can dip, so that it's good with tortilla chips, pita chips, carrots, celery. Also dried fruit. Dried fruit is, I think, especially if you look for the extra healthy kind that doesn't have added sugar, dried fruit is a great way for your kids to get in their fruit, because it's just so snackable. It feels like they're eating, M&Ms when it's dried like that. And then another thing that I think a lot of parents overlook is guacamole and chips. And guacamole is really so incredibly healthy with the avocado and the tomatoes and the cilantro, onions. It's, I think people think of guacamole as an adult food, but I have yet to meet a child who doesn't love it.
Yes, we love it here.
So, yeah, most any dip I think is great for kids. And then there's so many now vegan varieties of mac and cheese. And I also don't know any kids who turn down mac and cheese.
Yes,
but,
that's true.
Especially when it's with rice pasta and cashew cheese. It really is so incredibly healthy. Just mix in some peas and carrots into that, and you've got a whole meal.
No, that's great. Now, I know we had Janet Carney of the Vegan Pregnancy and Parenting Forum on a couple episodes ago, and one of the things that she talked about was some people, they think like a child can't get all of their vitamins and minerals on more of like a meat-free diet. Now, I know I have 3 children and they were raised plant-based, and I know that that's not really the case, but like, how do you work with parents, or do you guys give advice and tips and resources to parents to learn more about like, that raising your children vegan or even like more meat free is a healthy thing to do? Like they're not missing out on anything?
Yeah, we absolutely do. We have a lot of resources for both kids and parents, because sometimes it is the child who will decide to make the choice to go vegan, and then they have to find ways to talk to their parent about introducing more plant-based items into the home. So we have resources for across the spectrum. But yeah, we have on our site, we have a kid's guide to vegan nutrition, which I point a lot of adults to too, because it's really simplified. I think it answers like all the questions in a very straightforward way. But it just breaks down the healthy sources of protein: soybeans, lima beans, quinoa, broccoli, chickpeas, black beans, lentils, kidney beans, spaghetti, tofu. I mean, there's so many sources, and I think that that's the first question that a lot of people have. And then omega-3 fatty acids, I think a lot of people think that those are most predominantly, or the best way to get them is to eat fish.
Yes.
But that's not true. There are omega-3 fatty acids in flax seeds and walnuts and Brussels sprouts and oatmeal, seaweed, cauliflower. The list goes on. Iron is another big one that we hear. Obviously, iron is very important. And I am continually shocked with how rich in iron some of my favorite foods are. I'm originally from Alabama and grew up on black-eyed peas. And black-eyed peas are so full of iron. It's crazy. Again, lentils, oatmeals, dried fruits, another reason to pack dried fruits for your kids. Sunflower seeds, molasses, it's full of iron. And then the other big ones I think are calcium and B12. And thankfully all the veggies that I mentioned earlier are packed with calcium, especially the broccoli, kale, beans, and almonds, full of calcium. And then with B12, kids can get enough B12 with fortified nutritional yeast, some cereals, fortified soy and rice milk. And then I kind of love, after dinner sometimes, I want dessert or something sweet, and I will usually go for a chewable B12 tablet sometimes, because they're so tasty. So that's a really easy way to ensure that your kids get enough B12. The little cherry flavored B12 tablets are delicious. Oh no, that's great.
It's just to circle back to the B12 too and the omegas. Like I've been a vegetarian. I became a vegetarian when I was 4, and I became a vegan when I was 16. And I battled like misinformation pretty much my whole childhood. And it was funny. I was very self-conscious about the B12 situation. So especially when I was pregnant, I started to take supplements, like really, every single day take supplements. And then I actually had an overage of B12. And my doctor said, B12 stores in your body. You don't even need that much. It's not something that you should really be consuming every day anyway. So a lot of people don't realize that. So I had to go 6 months without taking any kind of B12 because it was like storing in my body. Same thing with the omegas. Like omegas, people think it's just, fish are just naturally occurring, but it's the food that they're eating. You have all these like, the sea vegetables and the plankton and things like that. Like they're eating that, and that's high in omegas. So it's really like take the animal out of it and just jump right to the plant-based, source of the omega.
Absolutely. That's a great point.
Okay, that's really interesting. So the site is informative and it's kid friendly. So like, let's say my 10-year-old could jump on the site and she'd be able to navigate it and find, cutouts and tips and recipes like that.
Absolutely. And we've made a point not to have any external links to other social media sites so that kids can safely explore.
Okay, that's great. So that's great. So we got the lunchbox ideas. And what would you recommend for families that, let's say, don't want to cut meat out entirely? Like, what do you recommend as far as, like, should they maybe start to really push plant-based for like dinner, or start incorporating more plant foods, in the middle of the day? Like, do you guys have any transitional type of schedule that parents follow, or is it really you just follow your child's own, lead?
Yeah, so if you go to the main PETA site, you can get a vegan starter kit and order it. It's free. if you just Google for PETA vegan starter kit, it'll be the first thing that pops up, and that is great resources for families or single people or really anybody looking to make the transition. I think swapping things out is a great way to start. I mentioned vegan mac and cheese. I think that everybody when I make vegan mac and cheese, everyone is blown away that it's vegan. So I think that that's an awesome way to start swapping out your sides. Gardein is really changing the game.
Yes.
I think plant-based meats, their mini burgers, mini sliders I'm obsessed with. They're so good. And they've got chicken tenders, chicken fingers that I think I would be surprised if your family could tell the difference. I take great pride in the fact that I once served my father a vegan pizza and he had no idea.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I think everything that you just make a list of what you would ordinarily buy and do some research online or in the grocery store and check out the plant-based version of whatever it is that you're considering. And I think it's going to be easier than you ever imagined.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Gardein, because I tell my daughters, I have 3 young daughters, all the time, like, growing up in 2017 as a vegan child is so different. It's so different from 20 years ago when I was a kid. And, I remember just thinking in my head, I was like, I guess my whole life I'll be unhealthy because, eating animals is the only healthy way to live. I heard my surroundings. My parents thought I was crazy. Nobody in my family was ever a vegetarian. They really didn't even know what it was, until I got older. And it just seemed there was so much more information. So there's still a lot of disinformation out there. That's why we love to have people like you, Kate, on the show that talk about, different ways to implement a plant-based lifestyle. And, especially with all the companies that are coming out. I mean, Tofudi's been in the game for the last, 15 years, and they still have, like, my kids can have ice cream with their friends. And, when I was a little kid, it was like I had to have ice cream or have an ice pop, which wasn't the same as like a sundae. You know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't,
right.
It wasn't the same. So yeah, even with like the Gardein, which is just, I mean, they really, like, I feel like they are probably one of the sole reasons to have so many people, non-plant, non-vegetarian families come and buy their products. I have a lot of friends that are not vegan that eat their products. It's really super good. The Daya cheese, Daya, all that. I mean, they really are. It's so easy now. Now, when you say vegan mac and cheese, do you mean like making them yourself? Do you have any simple recipes that you can share with our listeners today? I know there's so many different ways that people do make macaroni and cheese, like with cashews or with just like a vegan type of cheese. Like, do you have any simple recipes you can share with us today?
Yeah, I think cashews, carrots, and nutritional yeast to get the orange color is probably my favorite. Just soaked cashews in a blender, some boiled carrots also thrown in there, and some nutritional yeast will give it a great cheesy flavor. If I'm honest, I'm pretty lazy, so I usually reach for the Amy's.
Yes, the Amy's.
Vegan mac and cheese, or Earth Balance, or Daya, like you said. They're all really great, and you can find them at Target, Walmart, wherever you go. So, but yeah, I mean, it is really easy to make. I definitely don't want to discount how easy that is to whip it up in the blender.
Yeah, and there has to be, it's nice too. The Amy's, my kids are obsessed with the Amy's. Like, if they're out, I have to go somewhere else and get them. It's nice to have that convenience factor as well. So you can certainly, make your own. I mean, we make our own things a lot, but like when it comes to like the chicken patties and, even like the, I don't know if you've had it. I'm sure you've had it. The Beyond, is it the Beyond Meat Burger? Is that what it is?
Yes.
It's so good. My kids love that. It's so good.
It's crazy good, yes.
So that's another thing too, like with barbecues and things like that. But yeah, with the school year starting, we really want to kind of just talk more about like healthy foods and things like that, and sharing the ants on a log I never heard of. That's a great idea. The hummus with pita chips, the guacamole chips, the mac and cheese. I think those are great starters to get, like a healthy lunchbox. Now, as far as like, do you guys recommend like smoothie? Do you have like smoothie recipes or anything like that? Things that parents can add to their lunchboxes?
Smoothies, I don't know that we have a smoothie list, but yeah, smoothies are a great way to go, especially just throw it into the thermos. It'll still be cold by the time the kid gets it at lunchtime. Blueberries and banana, I have that probably 3 days a week myself.
Oh, nice.
Smoothies are great.
Yeah, I think that's great. Now, do you have any other recommendations for families that want to add more plant-based to their children's diets, whether it be with school or at home or even other snacks? Do you have any tips, to leave families for today?
Yeah, so just a few minutes before you and I started chatting, we just published a list of some of the best vegan ice cream just new to the market. It's pretty incredible how many companies now are making vegan ice cream, and that is a really easy and fun swap for families to make, especially if you're looking to cut down on your cholesterol. Ice cream is so high in cholesterol, dairy-based ice cream is. And some of the new vegan items from Ben & Jerry's and Breyers and Dippin' Dots, even Haagen-Dazs, all these guys are getting into the non-dairy market, and it's really incredible.
It's great, but for someone like me, I'm trying to, not eat too much ice cream. I mean, it's so tempting. It's so tempting. I haven't tried Haagen-Dazs yet, though.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. And yeah, I think the thing just to keep in mind with parents, for parents looking to make the swap is, the whole family wants to be healthy. The whole family needs to be healthy and have a nice, long, healthy life free of heart disease and cancer and high cholesterol. And that's what this is about. That's what these changes are about. Not only are you making the kind choice for animals, you're making the kind choice for your body and your life. And, any place where you can substitute vegetables is your body and the animals will thank you.
Yes, no, I totally agree. I absolutely agree. And I'm very grateful that there's such a movement, especially with PETA. I mean, you guys are leading the way. You've been for when was PETA created, by the way? When was that started?
We've been around for 37 years.
Yeah, you guys have, really had the way with that. And, me personally, I've been following you guys for a long time. And it's just, I'm very grateful now in 2017 that it's such an awakening. It's such a shift. I see it, I see it everywhere with dairy prices coming down and alternative milk prices, or not, the demand going up. It's just it's a special time right now. And we really thank Peta Kids for being an outlet for parents, for even people like me that have been a vegetarian for a long time, but still I need recipes. I need insights. I like to know about ice creams that come out. You know what I mean? But thank you guys so much for everything that you do, Kate.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That wraps up our interview with Kate Tuggle of PETA2.com. Definitely check them out. They are a fantastic resource. They've been in the game for a long time, and they really have a good grasp on how to add more plant-based foods to your lifestyle or your children's lifestyle. They have recipes, they have resources, they have information, and they have activities for your children to play online. So definitely check them out. Again, it's PETA2.com. Thanks so much, Kate, for coming on to the show. Thank you, everybody, for checking out this week's episode. We are so excited to continue to bring you these episodes and are really excited about the future of the podcast. So if you can, please share this episode with one other person. It really helps get our information and our podcast out to more people who can use this information. Again, we talk about everything from bees to babies, literally, and everything in between, lots of conservation talk, sustainability talk, and in order for us to continue to offer these, episodes to you guys, we would really love your support. So thank you all so much. We hope you have a fantastic week. If you want to reach out to us or give us any tips, tricks, or collab on a future episode, please feel free to shoot us an email at podcast@naturespremiere.com. Thank you so much, everybody, and until next week, we hope you have a wonderful day and week ahead of you. Take care, friends.